Welcome to What's Up with Bowling Green Winlectric. We're your go-to podcast for lighting tips, interior design insights, and expert advice on all things home, electrical, and design. Join us as we chat with local guests, electricians, and designers as we dive into the world of DIY tips, building ideas, and indoor-outdoor home solutions to help you create the perfect ambiance indoors and out.
Hey guys, this is Sean at Winlectric. Latest episode of What's Up with Winlectric. What are we talking about today? Generators, specifically whole home generators. And we're joined with Jeff Young. Why? I wouldn't know your name then. I've only known you for literally 25 years.
Right.
Ridiculous. Anyway, we're joined with Jeff Young with Young's Electric HVAC out of Scottsville, Kentucky. And they got, well, actually, I'll just ask you, what is your background, and specifically talking about generators in particular, what is your background and history with generators?
Well, we've been in business for 40 years as of last February. And probably 35 years ago, we started working on generators, developed that into servicing them, installing them as well. And we're certified industrially all the way up through 1 meg generators. We can do your home house standby. We can do a factory. We can do a hospital.
Wow.
We can handle them from installation all the way through to startup and taking care of them once you've got them.
Yeah, so I'm glad you mentioned the taking care of them part, and we'll get a little bit more into that later. But one thing I do want to point out is you guys are like what we refer to at Winlectric as the go-to people for generators. If we get calls from an electrician who's like, hey, I'm not real sure about this, we will almost always just say, call Jeff Young.
Well, we appreciate that. We put a lot of time in for training, certification, and we've got a lot of experience on staff as well over the years.
Yeah, and I do know that you guys have installed some really big generators, like you were mentioning about hospitals and stuff. Well, what's the biggest generator you've ever installed?
The biggest we've installed is a 600 kW.
Good Lord.
Now, and we service 1 meg generators, so which quite large. I mean,
I couldn't even imagine the size of that, honestly.
Well, you walk into them like you walk into a house.
Jeez.
You literally walk in and walk around inside of them, so they can get quite interesting.
Right. Well, one of the things that made me want to ask you to come on to talk about generators is the fact that in our area now, we are in the new Tornado Alley. So generators have become more and more popular along the way. And in particular, have you guys seen a big uptick in generator sales and installation? We
have. Probably since around 35 years ago, it's increased dramatically. Back 35 years ago, mostly it was a commercial site, industrial site, very few residential sites. And today that is changed dramatically because we've had a huge uptick on residential units.
Right.
So it's changed a lot.
So can you tell the listeners a little bit about what they may want to be mindful of if they're thinking about getting a whole home generator? And in particular, from our side, we know that you don't have to do your whole house, which is a big thing that you hear whole home generator, but tell the listeners a little bit about what that really means.
Yeah, you can do 2 different options that on your home. You can do a whole home generator where that everything that has electricity in your home will be powered by the generator. You can do a generator and you can pull circuits out of your panel and put in a generator panel. And what you move or relocate will be the only thing on your generator. So you can do either or. It depends on, one, what you're looking to accomplish and your budget, of course.
Mm-hmm. So if you were called to a job site with homeowner, and they're trying to get information from you on what their needs are. And obviously you're going to ask a lot of questions and try to find out what exactly they're looking for. But what are the circuits that really pop into your mind as being the things that they really need to be most mindful of having on the generator?
Well, almost every single time, everybody wants, obviously, if they have any freezers, they want those on a generator. If they have a security system and their fire alarm system, they want that on there.
Didn't even think about that.
They want some kitchen outlets, a microwave, that type thing. If you're in a real rural area and they still have well water, they want their water pump on it.
Makes sense.
Things like that. And depending on the situation, some people will want their air conditioner or their heat on it. If they have gas heat, obviously they want their gas furnace on it.
Right.
And those are the items that really create a load calculation to size your generator with.
Oh, I'm glad you just mentioned load calculation, because that's something I don't really have a lot of knowledge on, which is why we got Benton and John at the office to help with generator sales. But the load calculation is a really important thing, because people will come in, we'll have homeowners come in, they'll be like, oh, I got this 6,500 portable generator, and I want to power my house with it.
We hear that a lot. And that brings up several different topics, because you're talking about a portable generator instead of an automatic generator, which we can get into the differences there on that a little bit later as well. But the main thing is with your load, and your load, what that is how much power you need. You can have a 200 amp service on your home or bigger. Doesn't mean that because you've got a 200 amp service that you need 200 amps coming from your generator.
Right.
So we actually use an engineered load calculation form. We look at what your air conditioning unit sizes are, how many freezers you have, if you have electric cooking utensils, stove, range, cooktop, if your units are heat pumps or if they're gas heat. We put all of that together, and maybe even any other accessory loads. Like some people want everything on a generator, which I'm a big fan of. They'll put their hot tub, they'll put their swimming pool so it can run during the winter and not freeze, different things. So we put all of that into a calculation, and we can tell you what size generator will operate properly for that load, not be too big and definitely not be too small.
Right. Well, I think that's the biggest thing is operating properly. Again, I mentioned a lot of homeowners will come in and ask us about generators, and so many times we have to just be like, dude, that doesn't work like you're saying. It doesn't work like that. And it's hard to explain that. And so many times we just have to be like, look, we like to help the homeowner coming in, the do-it-yourselfer. But so many times we have to say, you need to get an electrician. And one of the main reasons is we hear people talk about backfeeding a generator. Can you explain to the listeners how dangerous that is and why you 100% do not want to do that?
Absolutely. In most areas, your utility voltage, when you look at a pole out in the yard, the wires on top, most of the time around here, they're 7,200 volts. Well, obviously, you've got a transformer there, and it drops it down to 122.40 volt, 240 volt being the highest. So when it comes into your house, that's what you have. If you put a generator on your home and you don't have a proper transfer switch or means to keep it from feeding back, it will feed back through that transformer, and it will create 7,200 volts on those power lines that the utility guys are working on that they think are off due to a storm or whatever. So it's a huge hazard, danger, life-threatening even.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know, and again, I'm not even a generator guy, but I have had conversations in the store where people are talking about, oh yeah, I'm just going to feed into a cord. My buddy told me to just power it through my dryer plug, and I'm like, dude, you don't understand how dangerous that is.
That's right. Not doing the proper sequence there can kill somebody. Mm. And we get that call a lot about that, and that kind of, to get back to the point of a portable versus a whole home automatic standby. Biggest thing with the portables is, one, you got to drag them out there and hook them up.
Right.
Then, how long has it been sitting since it ran? Is it going to crank?
Right.
What if you're on vacation and your power goes out and you're worried about your freezer or your security system or your fire alarm? There's nobody there to hook it up. When you do a whole home generator automatic,
right,
your worries are done. You lose power, it comes on by itself.
Wow, that's very true.
It transfers. When your power comes back on, it transfers back. You didn't have to do anything. And if you were home or not home, everything's handled.
You mean the generator fairies aren't going to hook that generator up?
Nobody's going to have to drag it out and say, well, my buddy needed this to work on something the other day, and I let him borrow it. Now I'm out of electricity, and I don't have it.
Oh, true. They run it out of gas even. You don't even know you don't have gas.
Or the gas sat in it for a year, and now it won't crank.
Yeah.
So
another question that homeowners will have or might mention is, I don't have natural gas where I'm at, so I just can't have a generator.
Well, they operate on LP, on propane as well. Almost all home standbys are convertible from one to the other, and most of them with just a flip of a switch. So you're not really having to do anything.
Wow.
You order one generator, you set it, you can configure it to either fuel.
I didn't even know it was literally just a flip of a switch myself. Again, I'm not a generator guy.
Yeah.
Let's point that out. So, yeah, that's pretty cool.
Absolutely.
And so is there anything off the top of your head that you could think about that a homeowner might be 100%, or I'm not phrasing that correctly. Is there any situations that you can think of where you just certainly cannot do a generator?
I couldn't think of one because we found solutions to a lot of very interesting situations.
Yeah, well, that's kind of what I was getting at is sometimes people will be like, I just can't do it. And I'm like, how do you know you can't do it?
Yeah, and that's something we try to pride ourselves in and going, we meet with the customer, we design it to fit what they need, we design the location, how we're going to install it, and go over it with them. And I've never run across a situation we couldn't put one.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
and that's kind of what I was getting at with that is, I can understand why people might think they can't, but it's just the knowledge there. Whereas, again, you've got 35 years of generator knowledge.
Right.
And that's, again, guys, I can't specify enough how there's never been a time that I can think of at the store that we haven't given another electrician or homeowner Jeff's phone number, and they haven't come out being enormously thankful. Like, they are the generator kings in this area. So,
and we appreciate that. We work with a lot. Of course, we're an electrical HVAC generator company, but we work with a lot of electricians. We're not there to compete with everybody. Mm-hmm. We work with a lot of electricians, and I tell them up front, we're not going to step on your toes. You call me and you need help, we're going to help. We're going to get the customer the end result they're looking for. And that's what we strive for.
Yeah, and it's just so nice because you can work in the same industry and not butt heads with everybody.
That's right.
So one of the things you mentioned before is maintaining a generator. What all exactly does that entail?
On a typical home standby, what's recommended is an annual service. On a residential unit, they're air cooled, 90% of them. We put some liquid cools in residences. They get a little bit larger units at that point. But on the air cooled, we're going to change the oil in it. We're going to change the oil filter. We're going to check the plugs, spark plugs, check the gap, make sure they're firing correctly, check the air filter, make sure it's clean, run the system, make sure there's no problems with it, check the automatic operation of your transfer switch, because the last thing you want to do is the power go out and not work.
Well, yeah.
And that annual service, a lot of times we find a problem before the problem keeps you from having electricity.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
Because obviously you've got a battery in there. And batteries, the controllers on all the newer generators, they are being trickle charged 24 hours a day because the controller is continuously monitoring that generator. So those batteries, 3 to 5 years, a long life for them. So in our annual service, we load test those batteries. That battery's weak, we put you a new one in. You don't have, when it gets zero out there, you don't fail to have generator backup because the battery's dead.
Wow.
So an annual service is what you really need. They will exercise themselves. You can program them multiple ways. There's an option to do it weekly, bi-weekly. We recommend for your generator to exercise once a week. It's going to run about 13 minutes. It's not going to transfer your power. It's just going to run that generator, which gets that engine lubricated, make sure everything's operating properly, and keeps your system ready to go.
Well, kind of like what you said before about portable. One of the downsides is using a portable is that the gas might get old in it, and so that keeps the gas from getting old in it.
Yeah, well, of course, these are LP or natural, so you don't have that same setup like with a gasoline portable.
True. I didn't think about that.
You know, you can get some buildup in it because that fuel's just set in steel.
Right.
You don't necessarily have that problem, but a generator's like anything else. It's a mechanical beast. It's like your car. If you let your car sit for a month and you don't crank it, you go out there, chances are something's not going to work.
Yeah.
Not going to crank right. Something's wrong, flat tire or something. That generator, it's exercising itself at once a week. Not only does it help prevent that, but it also, if it does have a problem, it shows you an alarm and lets you know, hey, you need somebody to come out and check this.
Yeah, that's cool, and it's cool. So I hear a lot of stuff at the store when people are talking about generators, and I've heard them talk about that the self testing, like you're saying, almost like a self diagnostic.
Right.
But is there something now where you get like alerts on your phone?
Absolutely.
Or something like that?
Almost every system now has the latest and greatest technology. So they are Wi-Fi based. You can get an email. You can get a text.
That's crazy.
You can Bluetooth to the unit. So it sends you information that, hey, you've lost power at your site. Your generator's running. Everything's good. Your power has come back on. Your generator has cycled off. Everything's good.
Wow.
Or, unfortunately, your generator failed to start.
Oh.
But it will let you know. And you've got access to it right there.
Yeah.
And you can say, hey, you know what? I need to get somebody to check that.
Well, you know, not even really thinking about very far into it until you're talking about it, but the fact that you're having that weekly or bi-weekly maintenance, you know, the self-diagnostic happen with it, nobody even has to be there necessarily. They're not paying a service charge for somebody to come check it.
That's right.
But then if there's an issue, it's going to detect it, and it's going to let you know so that you can get somebody.
That's right. Yeah, and there are options where that you can program that in to go to a person like myself, where it lets me know you've got a problem.
That's ridiculous.
And it can be repaired, and you not even make a call.
Wow.
If you choose to do so.
Wow, that's crazy. That sure is some high tech stuff. Wow. One other thing I had thought about, again, with just hearing things in the store before, is I've heard people talk about balancing the load. Now, that's a little bit higher level stuff than what I really meant to talk about here.
Yeah.
But what exactly does that entail?
Well, when you have a electrical distribution area, and that's your electrical panel in the house, you can have loads on different phases. You've got 2 phases in your house, two hot wires. So you want to try to balance that so that you're not pulling a lot more on one side than you are the other. And that will affect your generator as well. But that's very easy change and just moving breakers. That's just a simple
And that's
situation.
something that you guys can tell pretty easily,
Oh,
or
absolutely.
you do that on your own on the load calculation side?
Right.
Gotcha. Well, is there any other information, maybe something in the questions that the marketing team put together for me to ask that I didn't, that you would like to maybe make a comment on?
Something we want to emphasize is whatever brand, whatever company you use, make sure that first your design is a qualified design. Make sure that your installer is a qualified installer.
Very important.
And you know, it's kind of like buying a vehicle from a dealer. You want somebody that's going to back the warranty up, somebody that's capable of doing the warranty. A lot of people can put generators in. Very few are qualified to work on them.
Right.
So make sure your generator's sized properly, installed properly, proper inspections are done, and get a quality system for your money so that you're happy with it long term.
Right. When you mentioned that, it brought something else up in my head, as it does all the time, is, to me, having a generator is like an insurance policy or even a life safety device in a sense, because you don't need it until you need it, and then you want to know that it's going to work 100%,
That's right.
for you.
We've got a lot of customers that are on oxygen.
Right.
So an extended power outage is life-threatening.
Right.
So you've got those needs, but it is like having insurance. You have insurance on your car, right?
Mm-hmm.
You don't need it unless you wreck it.
Right.
Well, you don't need a generator unless you lose power.
Right.
So when you lose power, you want it to do its job and provide you with power, whether it be for life safety, which is oxygen, or for somebody that's on oxygen, or it could be just keeping all of your produce in your refrigerator and freezers good that you spent a lot of money to put in
killed
there.
a half a side of beef.
That's right.
Yeah.
You don't want to lose that. And you think about that. Maybe you're not at home. You're on vacation or you're wherever when this goes off, and you can't get there. Well, if you got an automatic system, there's no worries to that.
No worries.
I had a customer several years ago that was on dialysis at home.
Oh, wow.
And once they started, they did it overnight. And once they started, if they lost power, they had to start all over.
Wow.
That's a huge process. We put him in a generator. He didn't have to start over anymore.
Wow.
And so there's a lot of different situations on
Sure.
But, you want a quality installation, a quality system. You want to know that it's going to work. And you want to maintain it once you get it, because it's a good investment.
Right. Well, guys, I think that's a good time for us to wrap this up. Jeff, would you like to tell them your name, phone number, your business name, phone number, how to access you in case they're interested in getting a quote from you? Because
Sure.
I'm sure you'd be glad to provide them a quote.
Absolutely. Of course, my name is Jeff Young, and my company is Young's Electric Heating and Cooling. We're in Scottsville, Kentucky. Our phone number is 270-622-4412. We're available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for emergency services. We provide complete electrical, heating, cooling, generator, sales, service, installation, repair. Give us a call. We'll be glad to take care of you.
All right, guys. Well, there you have it. If you have any questions at all, I would definitely suggest you guys to reach out to Jeff and his team. They're amazing to work with. They do a great job, and again, they work well with other electricians. Just because you may have another electrician on the job, maybe they haven't had a lot of experience with generators, Jeff would be glad to work with them to help you get yours set up. And I'm Sean at Winlectric. What's up with Winlectric? Bye.